What if what we call the universe is just a fragment of something far greater? The latest images from the James Webb Telescope have placed science face to face with a disturbing paradox. Enormous galaxies appearing far too early, defying every law we thought we had mastered. It's as if reality itself decided to laugh at our arrogance for believing we already know everything. And in this strangeness lies the doorway to the boldest question of all. Could there be other universes? For decades, we were taught to believe in an absolute beginning, the Big Bang. But what if everything we've seen so far is only the surface of a much deeper story? These discoveries hint that the cosmos may be older, more complex, and more mysterious than we ever imagined. What once seemed impossible now gives birth to new hypotheses. Black holes creating worlds, universes reborn in endless cycles. And suddenly, the frontier of knowledge turns into an invitation to explore the improbable. That is the beauty of cosmology. It reveals, yet it also unsettles. Because in the end, we are not just talking about distant galaxies. We are speaking about our own thirst for meaning, the human longing to understand who we are. If other universes exist, what does that say about our own existence? And if even the cosmos can rise again from nothing, what limits truly remain for us? When the James Webb Space Telescope opened its eyes to the cosmos, the scientific community expected to see nothing more than faint specks of light, galaxies in their infancy, poorly structured and barely beginning to form. The logic was simple. If the universe was only starting its story, it made sense to imagine its first chapters filled with fragile, almost invisible characters. Yet the surprise was as overwhelming as it was unsettling. Instead of timid signals, what appeared were colossal galaxies, vast, already mature, and strikingly complex, as if the entire plot had leapt straight into the middle of the narrative. It was like walking into a classroom, expecting to hear a child's first stammering words, only to be met with a flawless, eloquent, and moving speech. The shock was profound, for every image projected by the JWST seemed to cry out, "You don't know everything about me." And perhaps that is precisely the point. Science, so accustomed to building certainties, was suddenly forced to admit that something fundamental may be missing from its equations. Picture this: a newly founded country, still without roads or hospitals, should display nothing more than makeshift tents and basic tools. But upon arriving, you are met with glass skyscrapers, underground subways already running, and even universities filled with students. This analogy perfectly captures what the JWST revealed. According to the current cosmological model, there simply wasn't enough time for such massive galaxies to organize themselves so early. It's as if the cosmic clock had only ticked a few seconds, and yet complete symphonies were already being performed on the stage of the universe. This contradiction was not confined to academic debates. It echoed like thunder at the very heart of modern cosmology. After all, if these structures exist earlier than expected, perhaps the entire narrative of how the universe formed needs to be rewritten. And here arises an unavoidable provocation. Could our explanations be nothing more than lanterns lit in the middle of a vast forest, illuminating only tiny fragments of reality? What's most intriguing is that this situation doesn't belong solely to the realm of astronomy. In our own lives, we too encounter events that seem too soon or too big for the moment in which they appear. Think of a child who suddenly reveals extraordinary talent for music before even learning how to read. Or of that project that once seemed insignificant and within months transforms into a solid company, surprising even the most experienced. These experiences awaken a mix of wonder and unease because they challenge our belief in linear, predictable processes. The JWST reminds us that the unexpected may not only be possible, it may be necessary for us to expand our vision. Perhaps those immense galaxies conceal more than they seem. Just like our personal stories, which often carry hidden chapters, it may be that the universe itself is about to reveal a paradox even greater and deeper. When we talk about the Big Bang, Many imagine a massive explosion lighting up the void, but science describes something far stranger. The Big Bang was a singularity, a point where density, energy, and even time itself were compressed into a condition so extreme that it defies any attempt at understanding. From this mysterious state, the observable universe was born, with its galaxies, stars, and planets. However, the problem arises when we look at the images from the James Webb. They revealed enormous, mature galaxies full of structure at a time when, theoretically, there shouldn't have been enough time for such things to exist. It's like opening a diary, expecting to find the author's first words, only to stumble upon an advanced chapter filled with intricate plots and well-developed characters. This discovery shattered the established narrative of modern science, forcing many to reconsider their maps of the cosmos. And what if what we call the beginning is not truly the absolute start? Perhaps there are hidden pages we have yet to read, entire chapters of the universal story still waiting to be uncovered. This paradox is like a crack appearing in a wall that once seemed solid, revealing that perhaps its foundation was never as strong as we believed. After all, if the Big Bang is the starting point of everything, how could such complex galaxies exist so soon after? Imagine being invited to a party scheduled for 8 o'clock, only to arrive right on time and find people already dancing, glasses scattered on the floor, and the music at full volume. Your first thought would be, did I arrive late? Or did this party start long before I was told? That is precisely the feeling astronomers experience when faced with the data. The cosmic clock seems out of sync, suggesting that what we call the beginning may be only a fragment of a much larger timeline. This idea unsettles us, but it also sets us free. Because if the Big Bang is not the absolute beginning, then we must admit that our view of the universe is still small, like someone trying to describe the ocean while looking at just a single drop. What's most fascinating is that this feeling also mirrors our own lives. How often do we encounter situations that seem too advanced for the moment in which they occur? A child who astonishes everyone with an inexplicable talent, as if they had already lived through years of invisible practice. A project that begins modestly and within months blossoms with such strength that even the most experienced are left speechless. In these moments, what appears sudden is often the result of silent preparation, of hidden processes we simply couldn't see. Perhaps the universe works in the same way. What we call a birth may only be the unveiling of something much older. The mature galaxies detected by James Webb are like fruits harvested before we even witness the tree growing before our eyes. And what if the Big Bang is nothing more than the opening of a curtain, behind which a long play has already been unfolding? This possibility sparks bold theories that attempt to explain what might have existed before everything we know. One bold hypothesis suggests that our universe may have been born inside a black hole. What appears to be an absolute end in another reality could be a delivery room. In this view, the singularity acts like a seed, compressing space and time. From the outside, we see collapse. From the inside, there could be expansion. It's the cosmic villain turning into the protagonist of creation without asking for permission. Think of a tiny seed carrying within it an entire forest yet to be revealed. It disappears into the soil and, unseen, reorganizes everything until it breaks through the surface. A black hole could do something similar with fields, particles, and geometries. The shell would be the event horizon, the embryo, an entire cosmos. If that's the case, every collapse in one universe gives birth to another. Suddenly, the map no longer has borders. It has a genealogy. To visualize it, imagine a funnel that pulls everything in, but pours out into a river on another plane. The matter that enters never returns, yet it preserves enough information to begin again. Inside, the equations would allow for inflation, cooling, and the synthesis of the first particles. The tree is already growing, but no one sees it while it exists only as roots in the dark. In this way, an event horizon would act like a cosmic placenta, protecting the fetus. On this side, silence. On the other side, a clock begins to mark a new time. It's counterintuitive, but it explains the premature maturity observed by the JWST without invoking miracles. The galaxies would already emerge with conditions inherited from a parent universe. Like families, universes could transmit traits and dynamics to their descendants. This might include preferred rotations, initial densities, and subtle asymmetries. If inheritance exists, then the sky carries the accents of ancestors we will never meet. And this hypothesis resonates with life in a disarming way. How many times has what seemed like an ending actually prepared the ground for a better beginning? A painful breakup created space for a project more aligned with who we are. A dismissal became the doorway to work that finally made sense. Collapses bring clarity because they compress what is essential and discard the rest. In the black hole of biography, the courage to rewrite the script is born. Practical application for today. Choose an ending you still fear and list 3 possible births. Transform loss into a seed by defining one executable first step for tomorrow. The cosmos seems to teach us that to be reborn, we must cross an event horizon. On the other side, there is expansion, surprise, and new constants to guide our path. And if this cycle is the rule, then the natural next step is to face the big bounce. Among the most intriguing theories is the idea that the universe didn't begin but rebounded. The so-called Big Bounce suggests that before the current expansion, there was a colossal contraction. Instead of an absolute beginning, we would have an eternal cycle of collapses and rebirths. Picture a basketball. The harder it hits the ground, the higher the bounce that follows. This movement creates rhythm, gives cadence, keeps energy in constant flow. The cosmos could work the same way, each fall generating the momentum for the next rise. The Big Bang, then, would not be a birth, but merely a gasp of breath regained. A heart that contracts and expands, pulsing without ever ceasing to beat. This hypothesis shifts the weight from the word beginning and places focus on process. And curiously, it reminds us that even destruction can conceal creative energy. But if this is true, what remains to be uncovered is which cycle came before ours. Think of how many times we've lived something similar on a smaller scale. A defeat that seemed like the end turned into the very push for something greater. It's as if life itself also has its own silent rebounds. The ball hits the ground, but it doesn't stop there. It finds strength to rise again. This personal analogy helps translate the physical phenomenon into human experience. When we realize this, cosmology stops being distant and becomes metaphor. Just like the universe, we too oscillate between falls and recoveries. The Big Bounce suggests that collapse is not an enemy, it is simply a link. Every ending holds within itself the promise of a new stage waiting to emerge. No fall is wasted when there is the possibility of an unexpected return. And perhaps it is precisely in this detail that the cosmos reveals its hidden lesson. The scientists who defend the Big Bounce point to subtle evidence. Tiny irregularities in cosmic radiation may be traces of this cycle, signs that universes have already existed before, compressed and then set free. If that is real, we are not living in the first, but in just another act. The stage of the cosmos has no single premiere. It performs plays without end. And each universe would be like a chapter in a never-ending story. The question, then, is no longer when did it begin, but rather which cycle is this? This shift changes everything. Our origin is also our inheritance. The universe we see today carries invisible memories of past versions, like echoes of ancient beats sustaining the rhythm of the present music. And if each cosmic pulse is real, The next mystery is to uncover the pattern of those echoes. When astronomers analyzed thousands of galaxies, they noticed something that didn't seem like mere chance. Most of them appeared to rotate in the same direction, as if following a cosmic choreography. This contradicted the expectation of a universe that should be entirely chaotic and random. After all, if everything was born from initial quantum fluctuations, the motions should have been disordered. Yet the data suggests an alignment, a larger pattern connecting vast structures. It's like watching a crowd and expecting each person to walk in different directions. Then suddenly, you realize that almost everyone is moving down the same street, in sync. This strange, silent order raises uncomfortable questions for modern physics. Could it be statistical coincidence, a measurement error, or a clue to something far deeper? The fact is, the universe may not be as random as we once believed. And if there is a preferred direction, perhaps there is also a hidden intention behind the scenes. To visualize it, imagine a stadium packed and ready for a concert to begin. Thousands of people enter without coordination, each taking their own path. But when the music starts, their arms rise almost together, moving to the same beat. This spontaneous synchronization creates the feeling of belonging to something greater. In the same way, galaxies spinning in alignment reveal an invisible collective echo. Perhaps they are traces inherited from a previous universe, preserved within the current expansion. Or maybe they are signs of hidden laws we have yet to discover, sustaining this secret rhythm. Rotation ceases to be a mere dynamic detail and becomes a cosmic signature. Each spiral in the sky could carry a code, a memory of the beginning. This idea provokes as much fascination as it does discomfort among modern scientists. Because to recognize patterns is to admit that the universe may hold more order than chaos. And if we bring this reflection into our own lives, the parallel becomes clear. Many times we believe our choices are entirely individual and random, but when we look closer, we notice currents that connect us without our awareness. Trends, values, social movements all follow collective directions, almost like galaxies. It's as if there were an underground current guiding seemingly isolated decisions. This alignment reminds us that we are not as disconnected as we imagine. Just as cosmic spirals move to a shared rhythm, we too dance to social tempos. And recognizing this pattern can be liberating. Instead of resisting, we can learn to use it. Following the right flow can multiply our strength instead of wasting it. If even galaxies seem to dance together, why not accept that we are part of this ballet? And perhaps this ballet points to something even bolder. New universes being born from black holes. One of the most provocative ideas is to imagine that every black hole is, in fact, a universe in gestation. What to us looks like an absolute end could simply be a beginning viewed from another angle. On the outside, we see destruction, stars swallowed, light imprisoned, space bent with no return. But on the inside, there could be an expansion unfolding as vast as our own. It's like staring at a locked door without imagining that behind it lies an entire city. The singularity would no longer be only collapse, but also creation. Just as tiny seeds contain immense trees, black holes could contain universes. Each event horizon would act as the shell protecting a cosmic embryo. This theory forces us to rethink the very concepts of end and beginning. For where we assume there is death, there may actually be a birth concealed. And if this is true, then every black hole in the night sky may be an incubator. Think about life. How many painful endings have served as fertile ground for new beginnings? A relationship that comes to an end can open the path to self-discovery. An unexpected dismissal can transform into an opportunity for reinvention. These personal collapses function like black holes in our biography. They swallow certainties, consume routines, and seem to extinguish the light of the future. But within that void, silently, new possibilities begin to germinate. What once looked like the end is only the preparation for something greater. Just like the baby universe inside a black hole, our lives reorganize themselves. When we least expect it, what was born from that darkness rises to the surface. Turning pain into seed is a skill as cosmic as it is human. And perhaps this is the lesson hidden at the very heart of astrophysics. Some physicists even propose that we ourselves live inside one of these baby universes. The Big Bang would simply be the birth, seen from within, of a greater singularity. If this is real, then our very existence is the child of another cosmos. And inevitably, we too will give rise to new worlds as our black holes multiply. It's as if the multiverse were an endless family tree, each branch carrying seeds. Each fallen fruit is not merely a fall, but the promise of a new forest. This cycle reshapes our perception of beginnings and endings. Nothing is ever truly lost. Everything is only transformed into another version. And when we reflect on this, even our personal losses take on a different meaning. If every collapse is also a birth, then no fall comes without rebirth. And it is within this paradox of destruction and creation that we draw closer to strangeness as truth. In the end, after so many theories, one realization remains. The universe is strange by nature. Everything that once seemed solid reveals itself to be full of unexpected paradoxes. Galaxies too mature too soon, black holes that may give birth to new cosmos, infinite cycles. Strangeness, instead of being the exception, may actually be the very rule of reality. It's like walking through a forest, believing you know every trail, and suddenly discovering that the ground hides secret caves beneath your feet. This perception shifts our focus. We are not facing a predictable universe. We are facing a stage where every act challenges the script we've written. The truth may not be comfortable, but it is transformative. For only those who accept the unexpected can make room to understand the whole. And within this unsettling invitation, science also finds a path to humility. Accepting strangeness as truth does not mean abandoning the search for explanations. It means realizing that reality may be far richer than our logic allows. Just as wildfires destroy forests only to give rise to new sprouts, the universe may alternate between collapse and creation in endless cycles. This dance of death and rebirth challenges the linearity we cling to so tightly, but it also inspires us to live with greater lightness in the face of the unexpected. After all, if even the brightest stars have an expiration date, why should we fear the end? Every destruction is the chance for a new beginning, even when we cannot see it. And if the entire cosmos can survive its own fall, then so can we. This vision does not erase pain, but it reshapes what we call loss. What once seemed like tragedy may in truth be the announcement of a rebirth. And here emerges the deepest connection with the human longing for meaning. We do not seek only to know how the universe works, but why it exists. If strangeness is the rule, then meaning is not found in perfect order. It lies precisely in the ability to create beauty within apparent chaos. Just as forests are reborn after devastating fires, we too can bloom again. Every fall, every ending can be the chance to rediscover a new version of ourselves. The cosmos shows us that even within silence, there is music waiting to be heard, and that within destruction may lie the spark of the next creation. Perhaps, by accepting this, we stop resisting the unpredictable and start dancing with it. And in that dance, strange and beautiful, the universe reveals itself as a mirror of us, an infinite cycle where even doubt is an essential part of a greater truth. Amid so many possibilities, one thing becomes clear. The universe is not just a distant space, but also a mirror of our own lives. If it can be reborn after collapse, why couldn't you transform your falls into new beginnings? If even galaxies follow unexpected directions, what stops you from choosing a different path right now? These reflections are not distant theories. They are practical invitations to change the way you live. After all, to understand the cosmos is also to understand yourself. And now I ask you, Which collapses in your life are you still afraid to call endings? Could it be that they are only the beginning of something you haven't yet been able to see? If even the Big Bang might not have been the first chapter, why should your ending have to be final? Share in the comments which part of this cosmic journey resonated most with you. Together, we can create a space of exchange where each vision expands the others. If this video sparked new questions in you, don't let the expansion stop here. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep exploring the greatest mysteries of the universe. Here, every day, we bring new perspectives that unite science and philosophy into a single vision, because knowledge doesn't end when the video finishes. It begins the moment you decide to apply it. And remember, the cosmos may seem infinite, but so can your journey.